All right, so we've journeyed through the entire history of wireless, right? But now it's time to look forward. In this final explainer of our series, we're not just peeking at the next standard. We're talking about a massive shift in how our networks are going to operate. What does the next decade really have in store for us?
This whole series, all 20 parts, has been built on an incredible deep dive report from the experts at RFI Detectives. For this grand finale, we're jumping right to their last chapter, the one that looks at the future, the trends, the innovations that are about to redefine the job of every single IT professional out there. Okay, here's our game plan. We'll start with the big picture, kind of set the stage. Then we'll dive deep into the star of the show, Wi-Fi 7. From there, we gotta talk about the new security threats that come along with all this new power. We'll also see how Wi-Fi and 5G are finally learning to play nice together. And we'll wrap it all up with the actual concrete steps you need to take to get your network ready. So let's get right into it. Look, if there's one thing that's constant in our world, it's change, right? We're always chasing more speed, lower latency, more capacity. But what's coming up on the horizon isn't just another incremental step. It's a fundamental paradigm shift. And the name of that shift is Wi-Fi 7. And listen, this is arguably the most ambitious, most radical revision to the Wi-Fi standard in over a decade. It's been built from the ground up for the kind of extreme demands that until now have just been concepts, things like high-fidelity VR and real-time industrial automation.
So, okay, what's the big deal? What really makes Wi-Fi 7 such a massive leap forward? What's actually under the hood? Let's get into the specifics, the core technologies that make this all possible.
First things first, the official designation is IEEE 802.11be. And I really got to stress that BE part. You absolutely cannot get this mixed up with the ancient 802.11b from way back in 1999. Trust me, this isn't just an update, they are worlds apart. The first monster upgrade is the channel width. We are literally doubling the size of the data highway, going from 160 all the way up to 320 megahertz. Think of it like going from a 4-lane highway to an 8-lane superhighway. And here's the kicker. This new superhighway, it only exists in that clean, wide-open 6 gigahertz band. All right, so we've got a much wider highway. What's next? Well, now we're going to pack the cars on it way more tightly. That's what 4096 QAM modulation does. It's about a 20% jump in data density compared to Wi-Fi 6. Now, there is a catch. You need a super clean, high-quality signal for this to work, so it's going to be most effective when you're closer to the access point. So you take that super wide highway, and you combine it with those super packed data trucks, and what do you get? You get a theoretical max speed of, wait for it, 46 gigabits per second. Just let that number sink in. It completely forces us to rethink what's even possible without plugging in a cable. But, raw speed, that's only half the picture. The real game changer, the feature everyone is talking about, is multi-link operation, or MLO. This is huge. For the very first time, a single device can use the 5 and 6 gigahertz bands at the exact same time. It can bond them together for just insane throughput, or, and this is really cool, use one band as an instant backup for the other, giving you rock-solid reliability for mission-critical applications. And that's why all this tech matters. This is how you get that ultra-low latency you need for truly immersive extended reality. It's how you get the rock-solid, predictable performance for robots on a factory floor. And it's how you get that insane throughput that makes cloud gaming feel like the console is sitting right there in your living room. But of course, with all this new power, all this new capability, it brings a whole new world of risk. The bad guys are evolving just as fast as our tech is, and that means we have to start preparing for threats that don't even exist yet. And that brings us to the elephant in the room, quantum computing. Post-quantum cryptography, or PQC, isn't about protecting you from today's hackers. It's about making sure your network is secure in a future where a quantum computer could shatter today's encryption in a heartbeat. The key here is something called cryptographic agility, building our systems so we can easily swap in new, stronger algorithms as we need them. This new way of thinking has to apply to who we let on the network, too. You know the old model, right? It was like a castle with a moat. Once you got inside the walls, you were trusted. Well, that's over. The zero trust model assumes the attacker is already inside. Nothing gets trusted automatically. Every single device, every single connection has to be verified over and over again, starting right down at the radio waves themselves. But here's the thing. The future isn't just about Wi-Fi. It's about how everything works together. Those hard lines we used to draw between Wi-Fi and cellular, yeah, those are starting to get real blurry. You see, Wi-Fi 7 isn't trying to kill 5G. They're partners. Wi-Fi 7's crazy low latency, we're talking sub 2 milliseconds, is perfect for dense indoor enterprise environments. Meanwhile, new standards like ATSS are going to let our phones and laptops switch between Wi-Fi and 5G so smoothly, you'll never even notice. We're even seeing future standards aiming for 5 nines reliability. That's carrier-grade stuff coming to your local wireless network. And as these worlds merge, the number of IoT devices on our networks is just going to explode. Think about it. Every single one of those sensors, cameras, and gadgets is a potential door for an attacker. This is why having a strict, certificate-based way to bring them onto the network and then walling them off in their own segmented network, it's not a nice-to-have anymore. It is absolutely non-negotiable. Okay, so we know what's coming. The big question is, what do you, the IT professional, do about it right now? How do you prepare your network today for the reality of tomorrow? First, just take a second and look at this chart. Look at how far we've come since 1999. We went from a measly 11 megabits per second with basically broken security to 46 gigabits per second with WPA3. If this chart tells you one thing, it's that you cannot afford to stand still. The tech is always moving forward, and we have to move with it. So here it is. This is your action plan starting today. And these aren't just suggestions. This is the new baseline for any modern, secure network. Number 1, get on WPA3 and kill off those old, insecure protocols. 2, use 802.1x for real enterprise authentication. 3, get absolutely religious about patch management. 4, your IoT devices need to be on their own isolated network, period. And 5, start thinking with a zero-trust mindset in everything you do, starting at the RF layer. And that brings us to the end, not just of this explainer, but of our entire 20-part series. So I'm going to leave you with one last question to chew on. Your network might be built for today, but is it truly designed for the decade to come?